That's what you're going to find out. So hit it.
Okay, so I did post for everyone to see. I'm going to post it again. It asks folks not to post anything while we're presenting. It just makes it harder for people to find the imagery. So I don't know if you can see, Scott. I think I just posted at 9:41 p.m. You can see Da Vinci's Last Supper.
Of course, backwards, 9:41 is 1:49, the anointed one. Go ahead. Just having fun.
That's okay. And if you're familiar with Da Vinci's Last Supper, we think that it's Jesus Christ sitting adjacent to Thomas, the Apostle Thomas. But when that imagery is flipped, you can clearly see that there is an image of a baby between Jesus Christ and it's actually Mary Magdalene. It's not the Apostle Thomas. So that underscores what we're talking about, that even in Da Vinci's The Last Supper, he was giving that imagery of the Jesus strand. Now, let me just add one thing to this story. We know that Christ was crucified. Now we're learning he was crucified at the age of 36. And as the story goes, Mary Magdalene was pregnant at the time of the crucifixion. And to basically save her life, she fled to the south of France. And she established the Order of the Blue Rose after the crucifixion of Yeshua. And it was a special order for only the most faithful followers of the Nazarene religion of the Essene way. You see, immediately after the crucifixion, many of the male followers of Yeshua, Jesus, refused to accept a woman, Mary Magdalene, as their leader. Magdalene, the rightful successor to Yeshua, established the Order of the Blue Rose for those who remained faithful to her. She established the order in Israel shortly after the crucifixion, but then escaped to France, carrying the baby of her husband and co-Messiah, Yeshua. They were legally married at Cana. Now, the idea, as I mentioned, of Mary Magdalene was that she was a reformed prostitute, and that's simply erroneous, especially in Catholic legend. An early Catholic pope confessed that Mary Magdalene with an early Catholic pope confused Mary Magdalene with another New Testament woman who was a reformed prostitute, and that became Catholic belief. But never in the New Testament does it say that. In fact, Catholic scholars today admit that the Pope made an error. And the New Testament does say that Jesus cast 7 demons out of Mary Magdalene, but our scrolls say Jesus cast 7 demons off her, not out of her. 7 demonically possessed men had jumped Mary Magdalene and tried to rape her, but Jesus came to her defense and cast the demonically possessed men off of her. On the night that Yeshua and Miriam conceived their baby, the Holy Grail child, he gifted her with her favorite flower, the blue rose. The Magdalene wore the blue rose in her hair when she conceived the Grail child. The next morning, Yeshua was arrested, and 3 days later, he was crucified. After the crucifixion, Miriam, pregnant with the Grail child, was rejected by many of the male followers of Yeshua, mainly those whom had been non-Nazarene converts from Main Street Judaism and were not disposed to accept a woman guru. Soon she fled to France with the Grail child in her womb. Her most devoted disciples followed her to France and formed what we later came to be called the Order of the Magdalene, or the Order of the Blue Rose. So that's a little bit about the Jesus strand. Now, the Jesus strand was made into a documentary by the History Channel some years ago. And what the Jesus strand was about was they took a portion of the Shroud of Turin, which is the cloth that enveloped Christ when he was crucified and placed in the tomb. And they also took a piece of the cloth from the Sudarium of Oviedo, which was housed in Oviedo, Spain. And they took a piece of the cloth that contains some DNA and some blood from those 2 cloths. Now, when we do the gematria on the Jesus strand, we get 150, the Holy Bible Code 150, Magdalene bloodline 150, the Lord's alive 150, light came first 150, and human God soul 150.
Trump
So it's
train
really, and Trump train, right?
150, and the secrets of the universe 3, 6, and 9 spelled out come to 150.
And it's just so interesting to see that that Magdalene bloodline 150 correlates with the Jesus strand. So when we look also now at the Shroud of Turin, we get 188. And listen to these results, guys. I think this is just beautiful. Shroud of Turin 188. Cloth image of Jesus 188. Image of God in the flesh 188. The Lord in the flesh 188. Alpha, Omega, Jesus image 188. The image of Father Omega 188. And an image of God 188. Just think that's beautiful because it's
President Kennedy 188.
Beautiful, just beautiful. It just matches perfectly. So let's go back now to the Jesus strand in the documentary. So they took pieces of the cloth, did the DNA, and the results, I think you're going to find very surprising. So we were taught that Jesus Christ was a Jew. In actuality, Jesus Christ was not a Jew. Jesus Christ was Druze. And the DNA from both the Shroud of Turin and the 𝗧𝗵𝗶𝗀 𝗨𝗽𝗱 proved that the origins of his DNA and the blood showed that it was of Druze descent. Now, the Druze were from the ancient Levant, and the Levant is the Holy Land, encompassing Egypt, Palestine, Jordan, Libya, all those areas that we know. When we look at the Levant, just Levant, the number is 74, gematria is 74, code of God 74, God as a code 74, Jesus 74, God's Son 74, the Omega 74, and Messiah 74. So those all correlate with Levant.
Cross.
The result, oh, I'm sorry.
Cross 74, Q Army 74. 74,
awesome.
74, 74, 74, 74, 222. We haven't finished yet. 222. That's what Donald Trump said when he walked off the golf course on January 28th, 2021. We haven't finished yet. 222. TWO, 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 174. You'll find out. 174. Trust the plan. 174. Hit it.
Okay, so the results then showed that Jesus, who we now through the gematria have proved that the Shroud of Turin actually was Jesus, who was enveloped in the shroud, and the 𝗧𝗵𝗶𝗀 𝗨𝗽𝗱. The results proved that he was of Druze descent, not of Jews descent, and that his blood type, this is what's fascinating, was AB negative, which is the rarest blood type. Only 1% of the population on Earth are AB negative. So, did you want to say your Jews, gematria?
No, we'll save it.
No?
We'll save it.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll save it. All right, so now that we know that Jesus is not Jewish, that he is actually Druze, we're going to go to a very, very famous gentleman. We know him as Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln was born on February the 12th, 1809 in Kentucky, and he was our 16th.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Like I said, February 12th, 1809. 1809 is 27, JFK, and it's the date that 90% of the world writes Bemidji, Minnesota, which is 162, the Invisible Man. And his birthday, February 12th, not only 2 times 12 is 24, and 24 spells 167, King of the World, which is the day Donald Trump came down the escalator, but it's 212, and TWO is 150, Trump train. It's the same address at Mama Gum's restaurant, Pete's Diner. Pete's Diner 115, Trump JFK 115, Art of the Deal 115, Key Code of God 115, We Are at War 115. And her address is 212. which comes the Trump train. Hit it.
Okay, so Abraham Lincoln was our 16th president of the United States of America. I know that you coded Abraham Lincoln, Michael, but I coded his other name. Do you want to go ahead and say what his Abraham Lincoln
Oh,
name
I've
is?
never coded. I've never
Oh,
coded it.
you
I'd have
coded
to.
it. Oh,
I
okay.
mean,
So we,
Abraham Lincoln is A is 1, and L is 12, so it's 112, and ONE, and TWO is 126. Gold and silver is 126. Was AUAG second coming Q, but hit it.
okay. So Abraham Lincoln, we thought was of English descent, but in actuality, Abraham Lincoln was Druze, and he was part of the Jesus strand. Now, his real name was 𝗵𝗱 𝗪𝗃 𝗪𝗃, which equals 199. It's God's prophecy, 199. God's family bloodline, 199. Divine master teacher, 199. Dark to light, 199. Name of Christ, Lord, 199. The Lord's higher plan, 199. That all correlates with 𝗵𝗱 𝗪𝗃 𝗪𝗃.
Excellent.
Now,
Anytime you do numbers, you might as well just stall. See, we've never done this, Scott, before, so
I know.
we're winging it. Okay, so
Yeah.
excellent, most high 199. Tom Brady was drafted in position 199. Tom Brady, T is 20 and B is 2. That's 202. Washington Swamp, 202. See, when he was at the Patriots, when the Patriot Act was consistent, they were the dynasty. See, Bill Belichick was 66 when he won his sixth championship, 666. And he had to leave and go play for the Pirates. You know, the Pirates, the ones that stole everything. You know, the Venetians that they're in Venice that Trump took down. And see, they beat the Indians, you know, the natives of this country. I knew what was going to happen before the Super Bowl got here, because he was always going to win his 7th Super Bowl, because 7 is God's perfect number. We'll save why they made him the top quarterback with Deflategate, you know, shrinking the balls, and the coach filming all the stuff across the field and cheating. And in the playoff game when they were playing um, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they walked in, the coach said, "Hey, we know we're the better team, but hey, you know what? We got to throw this game. We can't win this game. It's all fake. You'll find out." Hit it.
Okay, so now that we know 𝗵𝗱 𝗪𝗃 𝗪𝗃, aka Abraham Lincoln, is of Druze descent and part of the Jesus strand, let me tell you a little bit about what was going on during that time. Now, Abraham Lincoln, aka Ibrahim Kaluni, married Mary Todd. So we know that part is true. They had 4 sons. They had Robert Todd Lincoln, Edward Eddie Baker Lincoln, William Wallace Lincoln, and Thomas Tad Lincoln. Now, the 3rd son, William Wallace Lincoln, was named after that very famous freedom fighter from Scotland that we know in the film Braveheart, played by Mel Gibson. He was fighting for independence of Scotland from England. And at the end of the film, his very famous line as he was being tortured and killed was the word freedom. So we know that
and his name,
William Wallace.
Wallace.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
William Wallace. So William Wallace Lincoln was named
Yeah.
after that same William Wallace.
Yeah. So William Wallace is WW, which is 2323, which is I am the beginning and the end. And 23 and 23 is best, 46, and who 46. And William Wallace is 136, Great Awakening 136. And 23 and 23 is 46. Who is 46? Wait till you find out who you are talking to here. I am the beginning and the end. I am is 23, end is 23. 46, best is 46. The best is yet to come, 228. The best, Kennedy, to come, 228. I'm on a mission from God, 228. Hit it.
So with the four sons, we know that the Jesus strand is continuing, that the descendants of Christ and Mary Magdalene are alive, and that was a threat to the cabal at the time. Let me give you a little bit of history. In 1855, ISIS, the Israeli Secret Intelligence Service, was formed by the kings of Morocco and the kings of Libya. They were called the Hassan family. They signed in the Mohammedi law, which